tonight, a very special matchup against Polt and Stephano. Introducing from Team STC, let's hear it. I'm sorry, from Team TSL. I gotta work on that, ladies and gentlemen. Quantic Gaming and now the STC, no. From TSL, let's hear it for Polt. Polt, you have fought in the open bracket so far. How has it been going?
지금 현재까지 오픈 브레이크에서 계속 경기를 하고 계신데 현재까지 진행 상황이 어떻게 되는지 궁금합니다.
I beat 2 Jugger players and it was so easy.
Well, Polt, I'm so excited for this matchup. This is fantastic. Now, you have faced off against Stephano, and once we bring him on here, I'm going to have a question for both of you. But how does it feel to have so many fans on Reddit and from across the globe to support you and want to see a match with you here on the main stage?
여러 번 이제 올해 들어서 2번이나 스테파노 선수가 경기를 해봤고 또 이제 오늘 또 이 많은 관중들 앞에서 경기를 할 텐데 어떤 기분으로 경기를 하실 것 같아요? 상대에 대해서 어떻게 생각하세요?
Oh yeah, I think Stephano is a really good jugger, but we have met so many times and played awesome games, and I think this match would be more awesome. Yeah, so I'm so excited now.
Well, everybody here sounds like they're excited for you. Let's go ahead and introduce your opponent from Team Millennium, ladies and gentlemen, Stephano. Stephano, you have been fighting in the open bracket. How has it gone for you so far?
As Paul said, it was really easy. No big opponents in the beginning, so nothing to say about it.
How do you feel about your Zerg versus Terran matchup?
Well, I'm not really confident in it, but it's okay. We say, like Naniwa says, it's okay.
All right, gentlemen, this question is for the both of you. In the 2012 esports season we have seen so far, 2 incredible matches between the two of you in 2 major events. Now you're here at MLG Winter Championship. First off, Stephano, first off, Polt, do you have any words for your opponent, Stephano?
That was it. That was it. That was it.
That's it? You don't need to translate that, Wani. That was it. Stephano, do you have any words for your opponent, Polt?
I just want to say it's always a pleasure to meet Polt. I like the games we make. Even if I lose or win, it's always an amazing game, so I'm looking forward to it.
I think everybody's looking forward to it. We may be a little bit tired, but we're here. We're excited for this incredible matchup between the two of you. So please, gentlemen, if you will shake hands. Good luck. Have fun to your booths. Back to you guys, Day 9 and DJ Wheat.
Thank you so much, Clutch. I am so excited, Marcus. Polt and Stephano, my 2 favorite American players, face off tonight. I'm Day 9.
I'm DJ Wheat. It's time to get hype. It's the last match of the day for day number 1 here at the Winter Championship. And you know what? We knew about this matchup happening early on, of course, assuming that they would make it through their respectful brackets. By the way, a big old hilarious ha-ha to all you Twitter folks who are asking us if we would cast the other 2 players that they were going up against.
And we would.
We would have, man. We would have. But I think everyone knew that it was going to be this matchup right here, Polt versus Stephano. And this is, I love the storylines in StarCraft 2, Sean. And you know what? This is just a continuation of what happened from last week at Lone Star Clash. They are 12-10 overall. Look at that.
Oh,
we might be
darn.
playing.
I used to be Stephano. Oh, that was the good old days. But that is true. They just came off an insane series of matches at the Lone Star Clash. Before that, Assembly. Overall, they have met 6 times in tournament matches. Their overall game-by-game record is 12-10 in favor of Polt. But more recently, we've seen Stephano take the edge.
Yeah, and I mean, you saw both these players. They exude a level of confidence that you'd expect to see at players at this level, but only one can advance. And from this, only one of these players can end up in the championship pools. The other player, should they actually move on through the lower bracket, will end up in the lower championship bracket. So there is a lot. I mean, this is very important.
This is huge.
Very
Keep in mind,
important.
if you get to the pools, you can reduce the number of matches you have to play on Championship Sunday down to just 4 or 5, depending if there's an extended series. If you lose, you have 20 best of 3s to get to the final.
And it's time to jump in this game. Let's make some noise, folk. We're starting off on Antigua Shipyard, a map that Stephano has said he loves to play. Sean, introduce our players.
In the bottom right, from Team TSL, the SCV Life, it is Polt.
And in the northwest position, as the Blue Zerg, hailing from France, but some like to say he's from the US of A, from Millennium. Give it up for Stephano.
And we've been talking so much about the players, the casters, MLG organizing this great event. Someone I want to give a special shout out to is the man doing all the observing at this event out of BC. Out of BC SC, who is staying after hours with us.
Thank you, Adabisi.
To continue to do the observing. See you bright and early at 8.
Okay, now's my opportunity. Okay, like I don't play, the bias game when it comes to commentary, but I did predict that Stephano would go very, very far in this competition, and I don't want to be having to deal with slashers, talk back all night long. So Stephano's got to win this one.
Oh my God, the talk back of Slasher. Those are the darts of esports, Marcus.
They are. You don't want to be on the receiving end of this. So.
And interestingly, Polt going for the fast gas, not going to be doing any sort of one barracks expand. Traditionally, what we see Stephano do is a mutaless style, no muta's favorite.
Right.
The Infestors upgrades, primarily Ling Infestor. However, that is his core build. He is not doing some kind of mono battle right now. He can make other units, and recently he's been expanding to include more roaches if if the strategy necessitates that.
Yeah, and really, really uncommon that we would see him go to a much later game muta transition, maybe just to control some space and whatnot. I mean, like you said, a lot of times we see the quick lair directly to the infestation pit, and versus Terran, versus a guy like Polt too, it's worked out pretty good so far. So scouting SCV is making its way over. Overlord is in a good position outside of Stephano's base to be able to check in case that SCV were to go for anything goofy, but based off of what we see from Polt right now, I don't expect that, despite the fact that he does have Marine #1 moving out across the map.
Marine #1 just wants to do a little poke in, prod and pressure, just trying to force an extra set of Zerglings or 2. It also forces back this drone that would so much love to control this watchtower. This is, I would say, one of those necessary bits of aggression. Almost always, no one is going to come out ahead or behind. Look at this nice play by Polt. He's going to get himself about another 50, 60 minerals, a lead just by forcing Stephano off.
Almost didn't get to cancel on that, but just perfect timing. And the drones, they get done with their job attacking that bunker and immediately go to mining. This is a timing that Stephano is pretty comfortable with, not having too much problem pulling off the exact amount of drones and now moving, back into position. We got the first 4 Lings out on the map, and we do see a quick CC here. Well, not the quickest CC, but we're going to have a quick expansion. And of course, we've got the Hellions on their way.
Double Hellion coming up from TSLPolt. Now, I do want to say this is very standard from Polt, so I'm not going to talk about it that much, but Stephano, I want to come back and laud his economy management for a moment here. He took 5 drones off mining And he's still got 2 queens started and still mined just enough to start Zergling speed. You almost never have all of those pieces together, drones and speed and the 2 queens popping out, unless you are, especially after Bunker Rush. Very, very excellent economy management. And the question is, what will Polt do with this tech lab? Is he going to swap it, stim? Or is he going to go for the tanks?
No, he's got Stim right there, already started up.
Wow.
So he'll pump out another pair of Hellions. Now the question is, what is Stephano going to use to deal with this? He's got 3rd queen popping out, which will not only help spread that creep, but also in defense of these Hellions. But no Spine Crawler down quite yet. Speed is going to be finishing at a time where, as long as he can hold off with these 2 queens, he'll probably be able to make whatever Zerglings he would need to make. But the Roach Warren goes down, and that would be his preferred method for dealing with this right now. So as long as he can hold these units here at the front, he should be okay.
In Stephano's own words, he is going to delay his layer tech to ensure safety. But Polt, target firing that 1 queen. She's off creep. She's in the red health. Will Stephano just pull back? Will he get it out in time? It looks like Polt continuing to apply a little bit of pressure. 14 Zerglings en route. The queen's very low on health. Stephano pulling way back. The drones pulling back as well. And there's a nice hit, getting 3 of those drones, but Stephano answers in kind with speedlings.
Oh yeah, those 14 speedlings are going to be able to clean this up, no problem. We've seen Hellion number 1 go down, Hellion number 2. But Hellion 5 and 6 coming onto the scene for the party. They were a little late, but they're still going to be able to hold on to this aggression at the front of MileniumStephano's base.
I will say Stephano is about to put a world of hurt on Polt if Polt's not careful. If we go back to Polt's base, he's only just now doing a deviation from his tech pattern. Building Hellions 2 at a time out of that reactor is so incredibly costly for the Terran. He cannot afford more barracks. He cannot afford any engineering base. Now we see Polt just beginning to get that extra refinery, to get that extra starport, doing all the rearrangements that he can. Some nice transfuses going on at the front as those queens give each other little back rubs of health.
Yep, and not gonna, and there they go, fully healed up. He did go ahead and sacrifice at least 1 larva inject as a result, but he already had queen number 4 on the way, so he gets an eject, and queen number 5 pops for covering the ejection right there as well. So here come the Roaches now, and he will move away. The Hellions do manage to get out of there. They see that he needs to move, and also the drone dropped at the 3rd.
3rd base down. Polt has finished up Stim. He doesn't have the Medivacs out yet. This is a problem with building that many Hellions at the start of the game. Sure, Polt has a ton of map control, but he's got to be very careful with what to do with it. He's in somewhat of a fragile position. Oh my goodness, there's actually almost no defense at the front. These Roaches can do a decent little bit of damage there.
Yeah, these Marines got to get out to front. Stim is done now. No combat shields, however. Here, the Hellions come back, and actually, this is the greatest response that Stephano could have expected out here. He's going to walk 1 Roach up to the top and actually do some scouting, but if he forces the Hellions back, not only are they not at the front of his base so he can spread creep, but also he's forcing these units to come back home, and he might even pick off, nice control there by Polt, pulling away the weakened Hellions, and he will also get rid of this link so he can start to set up a 3rd.
Now, we are almost at 10 minutes, and Stephano has not started a layer yet. This is a very unorthodox way of thinking. Ordinarily, players would could possibly have Mutalisks popping out at the 10-minute mark. That's generally the signal time for it. But now 200 seconds stand in the way of Stephano and any of his layer tech, assuming he starts it right now. And another hatchery goes down. Stephano is going mega macro, mega defense mode. And this is the brilliant response that Polt is doing. If you're going layer tech units, you don't have speed, I'm taking a 3rd.
And here we go. We have a bunch of Marines moving out, a double medevac escort with them as well, where those Hellions, they're in the back of the field. They're coming up right behind this bio force. And now he's got a good amount of creep spread, but here we go. The upgrades have not yet finished here for the Zerg. And how many units is he going to have to make as a result of this? Queens are going to come out to help in this battle.
Oh, the Queen step forward. There's a nice transfuse there, but we see 1 Queen fall. It looks like the medevacs are the big threat for Polt as he pushes forward. We see 6 more Roaches en route. He's trying to pull as many units back as he can. Right now, Polt hasn't done too much permanent damage, but he's working his way down on those creep tumors greatly, slowing down future aggression from the Zerg.
Yeah, and actually these reinforcing Lings and Roaches coming out. Oh, if he goes up to that 3rd, I don't know that he's going to be able to take it down before these units pop out. Here come the Roaches from the back.
Oh, great play.
Yeah, they take out all the Roaches from that hatchery, but more units are popping out, and there is going to be a sandwich here. We also see one of the medevacs go down as well.
Oh no, Polt misclicks, and the medevac escapes. A great narrow miss there by Polt, and we see Stephano desperately trying to rebuild that infrastructure in the unit counting station. A drone lead by inches for Stephano, 54 to 50.
Yep, Stephano looking. Oh, but he's going to drop them in the middle of the map. He's got to be careful. There's actually a couple of these Hellions that are very, very low. And one Hellion does go down. He's not really paying much attention, not picking up at all. I don't think he realizes this is happening. Oh, it's because the army's coming from the back.
And now it looks like Polt will spring into action, and it looks like Stephano realizes what's up. He cannot win. He is just going to try to do as much damage as he can. Polt wants to keep Stephano's unit count low because now Stephano is forced to make units. No more powering for the Zerg.
Yep, and we've got a lot of Lings on the way. 13 Roaches as well. +1 Carapace about to finish. We've already got the melee upgrade for the Lings, but is it enough? There are several medevacs here, and they are quickly running out of energy. All of the units darting forward, but these Marines are getting well healed by the medevacs. Here come the rest of those Roaches.
Oh no, the Roach count too high. Stephano continuing to press forward. Polt has so much confidence in those Roaches. He pulls back. Nice defense, and you know, I'm not gonna lie, the one key for Polt against Stephano's style, quite literally, is standing still. The Zerglings can wrap around those armies so easily that the counter we've seen Polt employ is just keeping his army clustered together, not moving. Every inch he moves is another opportunity for the Zerglings to slither between and get more surface area to deal damage. We saw in assembly Polt literally standing still with Marine Marauder forces and taking out the enormous number of Zerglings that the opponent would throw at him. But now Stephano's finally gotten the layer tech up. He's in macro mode. With the number of Roaches he built, he is getting Roach speed, continuing to hold the middle, and it's going to be time for the Frenchman to push soon.
Yeah, and of course the Infestation Pit went down before Roach speed. That way he could get his pathogen gland started a little bit sooner. It means that these Roaches are going to be slower for a while. Hold on, we have a medevac heading on into the main base already. One Queen there. There's a Spore Crawler also there to help out. I think he might lose that medevac. He's going to go for it. Oh, pulls the Queen back. I think that was actually a smart move, bringing a bunch more units here. Oh, he picks back up. So, I mean, wow, playing on the side of danger, but seems to be okay with it. Look at this. Northeast, this hatchery decides to defect from the rest of the Zerg base and say, I'm going to build up here. And so far, unknown by Polt.
As we step back into the main of Polt, we still see 3 barracks and a factory, but hidden over at the natural expansion, 3 more barracks, another factory, engineering base, armories. Polt really going in to the big macro mode. God, Polt is being really bold with that almost dead medevac. I would never trust Polt holding a baby.
That's a good idea now. Here we got the Lings coming in. Of course, no problems, despite the fact that, oh, I guess they don't have their +2 quite yet. He's going to load up once again and then unload. These Roaches really wishing they had speed, and ding, there it goes. As speed finishes up, suddenly they speed. Also another base going down for Stephano. And, you know, I love this northeast positioning now because so far it's gone completely unnoticed by Polt.
And a Ninja Hive tech coming out by Stephano. The scan from Polt, the clairvoyance is strong with this one. I mean, that is incredibly nice Hive timing, very swift. Polt not really going to have the best answer for it immediately. And a 4th command center coming up from Polt. Destructible Rocks going down. Stephano is in somewhat of an awkward position. Stephano's getting very close to max. He wants to make sure he reserves some food for that Greater Spire tech. 2-2 now finishing up right on cue. Will he be able to get that Greater Spire up in time, get those Broodlords out?
Well, here we've got an army moving out. There are a lot of tanks here, and it's all going to be about the positioning for Polt. Now, if he gives up some of this army, that could be okay. But hold on, there's the siege up at the top. He pulls back just in time. He's waiting to use those infestors for key moments where he can just completely plague up the bio force. But it's the tanks in the back that are going to be really hard to deal with until, and there the Greater Spire starts. Spire number 2 for the upgrades has begun, and already we see +3 carapace going down.
Oh no, Polt sees the SCV train or the drone train at the north. While he kills that off, he saw all those drones heading to the top right side. This is a terrible, terrible position for for MileniumStephano to be in. Now, Polt has a choice. Does he push to the top right or does he go for the main? Oh
my gosh, he's lucky that he broke down those rocks because that is pretty much through that third the only way that he's going to be able to get through here. And he's got to be careful because these tanks are starting to get closer and closer. There's the scan to find out exactly where the army is. He is going to move forward, surrounds the tanks.
Great set of those infested Terrans on the high ground. The Roaches spring into action from all sides, and Polt answers with a gigantic force of all kinds of units. 3 upgrades, Adrenal Gland, 4 Corruptors, 28 Zerglings. The replenishment rate of Stephano is incredible, and I think he's counting on that to try to keep this expansion alive. We see Stephano also trying to keep those drones alive, and there's the sprint. The north-right expansion has fallen down.
Yeah, and he does have all these drones hidden in the back, but they're pretty much wasted supply at this point. However, the Broodlords have started to come, and that means he might be able to retake this position, especially with those infestors out. Here he's going to scan, try to get rid of some of these creep tumors. He's going to rebuild this base as well. That won't work out so great, but here he moves forward, gets rid of this little bioforce, and he's got to be ready. If these Broodlords can spring to action, even though they're pretty far away from this army, it's going to be exactly what Stephano needs. However, Polt, look at this, taking another base up top where these drones are just reconning, and then also taking this one, the X Gold here in the middle with a planetary setup.
88 drones right now for Stephano, making sure he can keep his macro in maximum position. And right now, Polt is just hurling out as many commands as he can. Oh my god, on the top right, an assault drone.
Whoa, oh, here come the
in.
Lings. Yep, and he might have to cancel and lift off of that. But you know what? I think Polt's okay with that. Right now, if he establishes dominance here in the center, this base just south of the Zelnaga Tower should be fine to defend.
Oh, a huge push in the center, and in the top right. Oh my god, Polt is not actually going to lift up that command center, and he loses it. Ooh. And Stephano expands on the corpse of the enemy.
Yeah. And you know, I mean, there's only 4 Broodlords. We do have a couple more Corruptors coming out. A couple Lings are going to be scouting here, and the tank count looking very good for Polt right now.
Oh, a Doom drop heading to the right. It spots the drones, but look at the right side of Stephano's base. There are so many Spore Crawlers there ready to meet him, and in the center, we see 4 Broodlords, Corruptors, everything streaming forward. There's actually no anti-Broodlord at all for Polt.
Nothing at all. In fact, he's going to be able to assault this base.
The main getting dropped. The Doom drop begins.
There we have a couple of Corruptors come out, but there's still all of these units inside the main. He's got to pull everything back, including the Broodlords. This could do a ton of damage. Here comes all the units. He needs to get a great bungle off here, and he does. The Lings come into the surround, and this Doom drop is doomed as everything goes down, including the medevac, and he's left over with a ton of Corruptors. However, Polt is going to try to regain the middle here, and if he gets a good siege position,
a nice ploy, a great ploy by Polt, looking like he was making a blunderous sacrifice, but in fact, he was maxed, needed to free up the food to do some sort of anti-Broodlord play. He had too many tanks, too many Marauders. We now see 5 Vikings coming out, 3 Thors, and 13 Marines, 3-3 en route for the Terran player, 3-3 done for MileniumStephano.
Look at this, just a perfect display, launching some infested Terrans out here, giving himself vision with the Corruptors, and he will go ahead and get rid of this base, effectively dropping Polt to just a 3rd. Also, those Broodlords, here come the Vikings from the back. He's got to protect those Broodlords. One about ready to go down. The Corruptors attack, but this is certainly a middle stalemate.
An incredible game 1 between these 2 Titans. We see the Vikings continuing to try to sprint forward. On the left side, we see that the bases have been scouted for TSLPolt. He sees that Stephano is starting to conquer the map. Look at the mini-map. Bottom left, mid-left, center, top right, mid-right, all taken by Stephano.
Yeah, he's got pretty much everything at this point, and 8 Corruptors coming out. So suddenly those Vikings, what Vikings? You know, and with this corrupting count, he should be okay. How many more Vikings do we have coming out? 3 more on the way. We've also got some Thors added into the mix. So you talked about that anti-air army that he really needed, and he is starting to put that together. However, it's going to be very hard to replenish. And in the bottom.
Oh, it looks like hitting from all sides. An excellent play. And we see Stephano swinging along the right side with a huge swell of Zerglings in the center. Roaches, Infestors, Corruptors, and Broodlords push the main.
Oh my gosh. I mean, all over the place, but this is exactly what he needs to do. Even though Polt is attacking both of the expansion over on the north or southeast side, here come all the Lings pulling him back. That means he's going to be able to get rid of this planetary fortress and get rid of his presence in the middle.
Oh, the 3rd base for Polt, a burrow for Polt in the workers killed. 18 killed for Stephano, 19 for Polt. The center expansion is going to fall. An excellent play right there by Stephano.
Oh my gosh, and all those SCVs also in the meantime getting hit. Of course, that frees up some supply.
The third base, the burrowed Lings are waiting, and there they unburrow. A great assault by Stephano.
Stephano just certainly all over the place. Polt, though, he's got a great army. Yeah, he's just trying to figure out what is going to be the best way to engage this. Unfortunately, with the mobility of those Lings and what he's got, he can't really separate his army without the fear that Stephano could could actually strike. However, what I'm more concerned about as far as Polt's concerned is that he needs to get that fourth base back up. He's starting to look really thin on his economy.
There are so many expansions everywhere that it is impossible for Polt to find anywhere to plant his army down. We see the Vikings stream into action. The Corruptor count.
Oh my gosh, a
See
fumble.
ya later, Vikings.
Races them from the map, Sean.
And it looks like the second attempt at the fourth is also going to be in vain. Stephano locked down on the middle of the map. The top right expansions in prime form. And it appears that Stephano is now 2-2 with his air units. The infestor count is enormous. Only 27 workers remain for the Korean Terran.
And we do see the command center lift, but the Corruptors say not a problem. We've got a force moving over here that's likely going to load up or just try to go around. But you know what? That might give Stephano the opportunity to just head on in. Nothing is really sieged up at this point, and he's moving in, dropping fungals on everything. Here come the Broodlords to start to drop those Broodlings, and more fungals spreading all over these units, and Stephano will push forward towards Polt's base.
But Polt has surrounded Stephano in an unusual play. Marines from the back, unsieged tanks. What is happening? Polt has broken through with no ghosts, no Vikings, only Thors, Marines, tanks, most of them unsieged, and it appears that Stephano has had his center control shattered.
Wow. I mean, it looked like it was definitely something that he was going to win. But let's look at the income real quick. Look at Polt. 20 minerals are coming in right now. How does he even rebuild what he just lost when undoubtedly we have 55 Zerglings? We have three infestors, more Corruptors on their way as well. Is that enough to be able to defeat this force?
It's all going to come down to whether or not Stephano can lock down that fourth expansion. Polt doing the unthinkable, breaking through the top right expansions. Now vulnerable, a counterattack begins for Stephano at the best possible time. How can Polt defend this? Oh no, he's forced to retreat, but the top right expansions are going to fall for the Frenchman.
Yes, they are. He's going to try to get some additional damage done here before the planetary finishes up. He does get a good fungal on the SCVs, but look at this, he's got to retreat.
He catches the Zerg player off guard. How is Polt doing this, Marcus? This is the absolute best Terran play I have seen in this matchup in a long time.
I mean, honestly, I cannot believe he's still alive. The fact that he had literally nothing going on. Oh my gosh, Stephano forced out. Polt on only 3 bases, 20 income at one point, and still he manages to pull out. I mean, it almost seemed unthinkable, but you know, Polt at that one point, Sean, he moved that small army up to the northeast position, and then he got this flank. Whether or not he even expected that to happen, I don't know, but unbelievable game one in this series.
Oh my God, if it was not inappropriate to puke on air, I would have multiple times already, Marcus. I mean, that is absurd. You think about the way that Polt dealt with that force. He had so many tanks. They were actually the core part of his army, not the Marines, not worrying too much about having his Viking count too high. At that late game position, almost every player in the world would tell you Terran needs ghosts to deal with that kind of force. The Broodlord's too high. And how did Polt answer? He surrounded Zerg. That is an unthinkable statement with the speed of Zerglings and Roaches, but you think about that late game situation, it's a slow army for the Zerg. Infestors, Broodlords, Corruptors, that surround by Polt is one of the most elegant solutions to that late game situation I've ever seen.
And you know what? I'm not even sure that it was intentional, but damn did he look good doing it.
Oh, jeez.
We're going to take a quick break, guys. When we come back, game 2 between Stephano and Polt. Can Stephano bring it back, or will Polt take it in 2? I'm DJ Wheat.
I'm Day 9. We've seen epic, and it was only game 1. Come back for game 2 after this.